Exactly. I don't even have any personal branding on it. Although, if you Google search Queen of Spreadsheets, just type that in, I will be the first result. Yep, do it. Call me on it. Queen of Spreadsheets. Alice Keeler, all right. Like an idiot, I ran to the bathroom so I could make it back here on time, and I have asthma, so don't ask me why I do that. I know better. If you want to fill out this Google form, you can obviously do that from your phone. For those of you who have laptops and want to play with me today, that would be great, but not required. And then someone's going to keep me on track of time. When I'm getting close, like 5 minutes, I don't care who it is, just shout out to me. Alice, we're running out of time, because I'll just talk until people leave. That's how I roll. I'm like, 45 minutes? Can I have 45 hours? My 14-year-old told me, Mom, you just talk too much, so go away. All right, okay, we're ready to go. Well, welcome. I am Alice Keeler. I am a Google developer expert for Google Workspace. I am a math teacher. I've also written 8 books about teaching with Google tools. I've done consulting with Microsoft and Excel. I mean, I'm good at Microsoft, so no haters. I think Teams is a great product. I dedicated my book to Google Classroom to the head of Microsoft Word. That's a fun story if anybody wants to get a drink later. So I'm not a hater of Microsoft, but I really love Google. And when I was working in a school district that was a Microsoft district, the thing that just really frustrated me was my lack of ability to code. Yes, you can code Microsoft, so I'm not going to have that argument. I know all about the power wash and the whatever things, but it's not as easy. And Google makes it really easy for you to incorporate your products together. So we're going to see if this is going to work. We're not going to hold our breath. If I slideshow, what happens? That's right, nothing. Okay. So you're going to tell me, what do you wish you could do in Google Workspace? What is Google Workspace? Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, Google Forms, Google Classroom, Google Maps, Google Calendar, Gmail. Pretty much anything that has the word Google on it. And YouTube. So I coded but I coded a script to give me all of my videos that I've uploaded to YouTube, and it dumps into a spreadsheet, and then I randomize it, and then I can just tweet out random videos that I have without always doing the same ones over and over again and without having to think about it. Like, which one am I going to share today? So I was able to use Google Apps Script for that. So I want you to think about, what do you wish you could do in Google Workspace? And you're going to fill that out at alicekeeler.com/DevFest2024. Is that working? Does it give you a Google form? Oh, geez. I bet it, but, oh. Well, let's see which one works, shall we? If I put DevFest24, where did I make the typo? Okay, we're going back to hotspotting my phone. Thank you to the school for connecting me, but no school ever has good Wi-Fi. It's like a rule. Okay. I love when I'm hotspotting my phone on an airplane and I hear like 10 rows back, sexy spreadsheets. Yeah. So I'm a teacher, right? That's not appropriate. My buddy, he put me down for a session at some event for teachers. And he put it down that I was doing sexy spreadsheets. I'm like, dude, I mean, it's education. We do K-12, right? But it was so popular, like I went like on a tour, a sexy spreadsheet tour, and I even bought the URL, although since Google domains went away, I forgot to renew it, so don't steal it. I believe Queen of Spreadsheets works. What do you mean I have to have a password? What's going on? I am good at technology. I like to joke that I will, oh, there we go. It is DevFest spelled correctly. I will change that right now. Thank you, Google. It's one of the things I love about Google Workspace is when, not if, I have a typo in my lessons, and I share it obviously with my students, and I have 7 periods of Algebra 1. Like, oh, typo, correct it, and everybody has the correction, right? I don't have to email everybody. I worked for a company where they sent out the 17th copy of the PDF of the calendar, and then I quit. I'm like, and we're done. That is not how I'm living my life. Do not email me a PDF. Okay, everyone got this? You can fill it out more than once if you want. Okay, now, I don't know why I'm going to do this. My website is alicekeeler.com. It is basically a love letter to Google, but it is about education. So it's all of it's in the context of how to teach with fill in the blank. You're telling me what do you wish you could do in Google Workspace, and I'm just going to tell you, probably Google Apps Script makes it possible. Now there are some things that are going to be too advanced, or it's just not allowable in Apps Script, or you got to use the API, or even those don't allow you to do it. You don't get full keys to the kingdom, but quite a lot of things. So I'm going to share with you today how you can app smash using the different Google tools. So I have 35 add-ons approved in the Google Workspace Marketplace. So as a Google developer expert for Google Workspace, that's what I do, is I make app script things. I don't know Python, but you know, I have Gemini, so I do know Python. But all of these are designed to solve a problem. Teachers in particular aren't super techy. So like this first one, pixel art, you'd be surprised how popular this is. You know what it does? It resizes all of the cells in your spreadsheet to be really tiny. And then when you type in any number or even letters, I've got them all like mapped, it will change it to a color where both the font and the fill color are the same, so you can make pictures in any spreadsheet. So if you want to you have a Google Sheets open, just go to the extensions menu, choose pixel art, assuming that you've installed it, and you can just search my name, by the way, in the Workspace Marketplace, Alice Keeler, 2 E's, 1 L. Not Keebler, I'm not an elf. My students will still call me that, or Killer, because, you know, 9th graders, skibbity. But you can install any of these by searching my name, and you can it'll insert a sheet, and then you can just start making pictures, which sounds dumb, but I have one that is randomized slides. Well, doesn't that sound really dumb? Why would you want to randomize your slides? I'm going to do it right now. I'm just going to go out on a limb here. I got a lot of slides. I have a lot of slides. I've got 174, don't ask. Okay. So now I'm going to come up here to the extensions menu. I'm going to go to randomize slides. I'll keep the first slide first. Oh, I apparently have to authorize myself. Always. Everything works when I'm at home by myself. Nothing works when I'm in front of an audience. Well, doesn't that look like fun? This random pixel watch is now slide 3. Like, geez, that's dumb. Except as a teacher, I don't use Google Slides to give information. I use it to interact with my students, to get information. So I have all my students on my Google Slides because I love pictures of penises and Snoop Dogg smoking weed. If you don't like that, don't be a teacher, because that's what they will do when you share a collaborative document with them. Don't react, because then they'll think it's funny and they'll keep doing it. So just delete Snoop Dogg. Keep going, it's fine. But I share my Google Slides with my students, and when I ask a question, I don't wait for the first 1 or 2 students to raise their hand like, oh, calling me? I haven't thought of my answer at all, and I just want to word vomit out the first thing that comes to my mind. When research shows it's our quietest students who have the most thoughtful answers. I have 5 children. Several of them have extreme anxiety. They're not going to raise their hand, but they're brilliant. So when we use technology in ways that we can bring everybody to the table to give everybody a voice, we're all better, whether it's education or in the workplace. So I want to allow everybody to put their answer on a slide. Don't raise your hand and tell me your answer. Put it on a slide, and then I hit present, except now what order is it in? So I want to randomize their contributions, kind of like popsicle sticks, and then I can clicker through them really quickly, give everybody a voice rather than just the 1 or 2 that raised their hand. Now, I know you all thought that was really bold that I did that, except there's version history, so I'm just going to rewind that right back and restore this version. And isn't that what's really great about Google Workspace is I always have full confidence that I have the right version, that I don't have the 17th PDF of the calendar, which is one of the reasons I don't want to hate on Microsoft, but here's what happens is I talk to somebody, I have a lot of friends at Microsoft, I'm like, well, you can't do this. And they'll like, go to the web version, because I'm going to do it in the cloud. And they're like, next thing I see is they're on the desktop version. I'm like, no, that's cheating. That is cheating, because when you put it on the desktop version, there's this potential that we're no longer collaborating, right? It's on your computer. Somebody is not getting the updates. That's not how I'm going to live my life. So when I work with teachers, I want to, here's my challenges. Then I create an add-on. I publish it to the marketplace to give them quick and easy ways to use Google Workspace better. Doc to Slides takes your text in a Google Doc and turns it into Google Slides. It's very simple. It doesn't take the formatting. It doesn't allow you to do fancy things. You can go into the theme builder and adjust it in there, but just really quickly you can get your ideas down and turn it into a presentation. So you can see I'm app smashing together Google Docs and Google Slides. And how long does this take? Honestly, when I talk to people who actually know how to code with Python and stuff, they laugh at me. They're like, that's so basic. Yeah, but it still saves me time, and a lot of people use it. Like it's helpful, and like, even if you know how to do it by hand, why? Why not code it? Okay, back here. So I learned how to do it. It's JavaScript. Google Apps Script is JavaScript. I learned it. I went to Codecademy, and I spent a week learning JavaScript. I know about this much JavaScript. And then brute force, when Google Slides came out, where you could do Google Apps Script, there was no documentation, and I had to figure this out through trial and error. So all of those add-ons that you saw, almost all of them, I coded them from scratch. But today, what I do is I go into Gemini. I'm like, hey, Gemini, using Google Apps Script, and here's the key words, in the current Google Sheets spreadsheet, in the current presentation, in the current Google form, because if you don't, it'll make you a new one. And you'll keep hitting run like it's not working. It says execution completed, but I don't see any Google Slides, it's doing nothing to my Google Slides. Oh, well, go check your Google Drive. Enjoy all 50 of those Google Slides that you just accidentally made. So this is the magic sauce, is for you to say, using Google Apps Script in the current document, or if I have a specific document, I'll just paste the URL to that document. Like, here's the document that I'm using that I want to interact with. And Gemini is going to give me the code. Now, so what does this one look like? Gemini, by the way, every day gets better. So a year ago, I was telling people, use the competitor. If you want to code app script, use the other guy. Because Gemini would give me some very creative methods that don't exist. Just so you know, set page width is not a thing on Google Slides. And it really, really wants to set the page width for you, which is not a method. And then all of a sudden one day, just because I keep testing it, like, well, what if I tried using Gemini? And wait, did the code work the first time with no edits? No. Oh, yes! Today, now to be fair, I do have a beta version that you all don't have access to. So maybe yours isn't as good as mine, but currently it does a pretty good job. And then if it throws you some errors, you can copy and paste those errors back into Gemini. I'm like, I got this error, do it again. And then it does this so cute thing. It says, well, here's this couple of lines that you're going to swap out. No, we're not going to swap out a couple of lines. You're going to give me the whole thing. So then I'm like, no, give me the whole function. Give me the whole function. So I fired my assistant recently, which means I have to check my own email, which is horrible. So here's the problem. When somebody emails me in a thread, we've gone back and forth 3, 5, 10, 20 times, I can no longer tell if somebody's replying to the thread, especially if I have it labeled, so it's kind of pinned in my inbox. I can't tell that someone has replied. So I'm like, well, I need to know who I'm missing because I lose money if I do consulting and I do speaking, so right, people are contacting me for my personal business. I lose money if I don't respond right away. So I want a function for Google Apps Script to code Gmail to look for my emails from the last 24 hours that do not have a reply, and they're in a thread. And then I want you to send me an email with a list of them. So and it worked the first time, just so you know. So let's see if I have that, because I delete them. Let's look at my Gmail. Since I don't have an assistant, it's a hot mess. Threads. It'd be from myself. Did I delete it? It's probably down here. Me. Aha. So I send myself an email every day at 4 a.m. I am up at 4 a.m. if you're wondering. Don't call me at 9 o'clock. I'm sleeping p.m. I'm that old. So I get this email at 4 a.m. that says, hey, here are the email threads from the last 24 hours. It's got the subject line, the sender, and just the link if I want to reply to it. So I'm able to scan through my email. Look how uncluttered this is. And it's only the most recent emails, not just everything dumped in my inbox. And just so you know, ghost pepper salt is life-changing. So make sure you go to Amazon and just type in ghost pepper salt. You're welcome. I emailed that to somebody, like, here's the link to Amazon. But this saves me a ton of time. It saves me a ton of money, too, because I fired my assistant. I don't have to pay her anymore. But it also saves me embarrassment because I now am able to reply to email threads that haven't been replied to. Does anyone notice that I have an email problem? Too many emails. Don't email me. People are like, can I have your email? No. Can I DM you? No, don't do that either. If you'd like, you can email me, info@alicekeeler.com. We'll see if I reply. I'm being funny, but I just ignore the email until it becomes dire, and then I'm like, oh, sorry. Now, once you have the function, once you have the script, what do you do with it? So there's two options. You can just go to script.google.com, or my personal favorite, script.new. So for those of you who have a computer open, why don't you try that? Go to script.new. It's going to open up an IDE for you to just literally copy and paste and dump the email, or it's going to be the code in there. Save and run. For those of you under the age of 30, you know, it looks like a little disk icon. No, yeah, it does actually, the save icon. My children are like, I don't know what that is. You will have to authorize it every single time because you have created the code. It's going to be safe, right? You're giving yourself permission to your own files. No, but you put the functions in there. You know that it's not some Russian bot that is trying to get your data. So it's going to give you a scary screen of doom, like they're going to take your firstborn child and burn down your house. You literally have to click on the word unsafe. Thanks, Google. If I ever find who at Google made this authorization screen, I'm going to slash their tires. Imagine teachers getting this. They all want to email me. I don't want email. I have enough. And I'm not your personal tech support. The other place you can do it is if you have a bounded script. So the first one that I showed you, I'm like, hey, I just want a script that checks my emails and sends me an email. I did that in a script.new. But if I have a spreadsheet or a slides or a document and I'm just doing something on that particular document, then I actually want to basically staple the code to the Google Sheets and slides. Now, those of us in this room probably really enjoy looking at code. And you'd probably really enjoy reading the code. It's very readable. It's insert sheet. I bet you know what that does. And making sure that it's really safe and it's doing what you want to do. But what happens if you're like, okay, this works, and I'm going to share it with the guy next to me who keeps the word password on a Post-it note under his keyboard? You know what I'm talking about. They're not going to want to look at the code. So what's really, really nice about Google Apps Script is that you can put the code in the extensions menu, you choose Apps Script. If you share the spreadsheet with them, if you share the Google Slides with them, and you have a menu function, they can just use the menu. And they have no idea that there's code behind it. And they're doing all the cool things, and they never have to see the code. So it's a really easy way to publish and share what you've coded while you're in the bathroom, because Gemini will do it that quickly for you. Take your laptops to the bathroom with you. That's the moral of this story. Okay, so you said you wanted to do equations on Google Slides. Equatio is a Chrome extension by TextHelp. They are educators who specialize in accessibility. I personally know the CEO. This is a great company that has a great mission. So if you want to get equations on Google Slides, may I recommend, it's the word equation without the N, Equatio. Could you code this 100%? And I'm going to tell you how I know that. John McGowan is also a math teacher. I'm a math teacher. And he's also a GDE like I am. And way back in the day, he created an add-on for Google Docs, Google Forms, Google Slides that would allow you to insert equations. And then this company, TextHelp, bought it from him. So could you code a script that would allow you to insert equations on slides? Yes. I will not be demonstrating that today because that is going to be a lot more complicated than what I can do in a few minutes. But I would just recommend paying the $100. It's going to be a lot of interfaces and things, and your time is more valuable. So, Equatio. Well, that's me. Where did these go? They come through? Where are they? Did you guys just not fill out the form? If you don't fill out the form, you're ruining my presentation. Let's go back. We're going to try this again. I'm going to fill it out myself, and we're going to see what happens. Okay, what do you wish would happen? Stuff, Alice, submit the response, finish, see if it shows up. Nope, there it is. It's just going to the wrong place. So what do I have? This is like my magic trick. So what I told you, when I'm in a classroom with my students, I use Google Classroom, and I add a Google Slides, and I'm able to easily give them edit access to my Google Slides where they can all add a slide, and that's awesome. But what happens when I'm in an audience like with you where I don't know your email addresses, and I don't want you to email me? So yeah, scan the QR code. So if you'll fill out alicekeeler.com/DevFest2024, my presentation today is to try to make what you want happen. So if you don't submit, I guess I'm going to go home, which is Kansas. I flew all the way from Kansas for this, so help me out. Yeah, all right, I'm going to come. I'm going to come check it out. They're coming. I'm going to go to the extensions menu. I'm going to go to App Script. This is my menu. So my on open menu, so when I have a function that's specifically named on open, then when someone opens the Google Slides, when they open the Google form, whatever it is, the menu is going to load. So that's how I'm going to use a bounded script to allow other people to use my code without having to look at my code, is I want to make sure that I have a menu. Gemini will write that for you. It's real simple. By the way, I wrote this whole thing myself because this is pre-Gemini, but you know, what ifs. And then I have a bunch of functions to create a Google form, to set up what the slide should look like, identify the placeholders, all those different things. So then all I have to do is if I choose push question, it's going to read my slide. So watch, I'm going to add a slide, and I'm going to type in Alice wants you to participate, darn it. Okay, right? So I go push the question. Let's go look at that Google form. Not only does it read the question off of my slide and pushes it to the Google slide, it also translates it to Spanish. Because I go to Peru several times a year and I do presentations there. My Spanish no es bueno, pero I try, but I try. Entender. And they're really like gracious. So I say, like, fill out the form in Spanish and it'll translate to English. Anyone know Spanish? Try filling out the form again in Spanish. Oh yeah, I have to do it twice. Thank you. Make sure you hit submit. How about I select it? So down here is what you originally wrote, Puedo ir al baño. This is what my Spanish teacher taught us on the first day. And una Coca-Cola, por favor. And then it translates it and puts it on there for me so I can read in English, think how I want to respond in Spanish, and then give you the worst Spanish you've ever heard. So, but they'll all tell me that it's really good and take 3 selfies with me. So that's why I like going to Peru. Stuff to make Google Apps more interactive, absolutely. So I showed you that. Here we go. Yo quiero Taco Bell, don't we all? No me hablo español. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and go back and I'm going to push. It's supposed to come down here. I changed some code like an idiot and I broke it. That's fine. It comes up here. So let's see what you got. Help my students learn to code. I love that. Okay, so we're going to just jump over here into Google Gemini. Now, what you're going to notice is that I have a bar that says don't show this to anybody. So don't tell anybody. I've got beta version. All right, create a tutorial for my students who are 7th graders to code Google Apps script. Make it basic with a project they can be successful at. Let's see how that goes. Do you know, does anyone use Google Gemini? Okay, good. I was like, really? Who uses ChatGPT? Okay, let me show you. First of all, like I said, I pay for ChatGPT. I pay $60 a month for ChatGPT. Well, to be on a team, you have to have 2 people. So I pay for my husband, but you get, like, I never times out on me. Like, I can keep prompting it over and over again and make as many photos as I want if I pay them money, but I have to be on the team. You have a secret? Yes, because the individual one still will give you a throttled, limited amount of prompts. So, I mean, like, I use ChatGPT a lot, but I also use Gemini a lot. But here's why I like to use Gemini. Yeah. Not only is there a free version of Gemini, I know that you guys are not running a school, but it is also free at the school. So if you go into admin.google.com, if you do run a workspace domain, you can turn on Gemini for free for all your employees. I really wouldn't do it for the students if you are a school, but teachers and staff and those things, they can turn it on, and that part is free. So there are features that are paid, so if you upgrade to the and I do on my personal workspace, Google does not give me that for free. So I pay for the Gemini upgrade on my personal workspace. It's like 20 bucks a month. Look at how much money I just spent on AI. And that gives me Gemini Advanced. It allows me to create gems, and it allows me to upload documents. Like, it has some more advanced features if you have the paid version, but the basic Gemini is actually pretty good. In fact, we'll put a prompt where we get some code. We'll put it in my beta version, and then let's go over to the free version and compare and contrast. If I click this share button down at the bottom, it'll export it to a Google Doc. So if I'm like, I have this tutorial, I'm going to give it to my students, well, cool. Then what I want to do is I want to put it in a Google Doc or send it off in an email, and I don't have to copy and paste it in there, which is really nice. Also, it does not paste in Markdown. Yeah. If you don't know, if you go into your Google Docs and you go into the settings in your Google Docs, you have to turn on paste from Markdown. It's not turned on by default. So when you copy, you click the little copy button in ChatGPT and you paste it into a Google Doc and the whole thing's in Markdown, you can set your settings in Google Docs to allow you to type Markdown that'll change it into headings and things, but that's as you type. If you paste an entire Markdown, sucks to be you. So the way to solve that is you go into the settings, you have to actually turn on paste from Markdown, and then I go to the edit menu, and I have to choose it because there's no keyboard shortcut for that. Is there anyone from Google here? Because I'm kind of bitter about it. If only I knew people. Oh, wait, I do. Not that they listen to me. They do. I can point to specific features, but whatever. I forget what I was saying. So anyway, I would now be able to
edit the thing.
do the what?
You have to put edit on in the settings.
Oh, yes, right? So you have to be able to do the edit or paste from Markdown. It's in the format, it's in one of the menus. I think it's in the format menu or the, whatever. I can find it. I know where it is. Is it in the edit menu? Edit, yes. Do you see how there's no keyboard shortcut for that? How annoying. Well, you're in luck because I've solved this for you. So if you go to the Google Play Workspace Marketplace and you install TidyDoc, T-I-D-Y-D-O-C, TidyDoc changes your Markdown in your Google Doc into not Markdown because you forgot to enable paste from Markdown. So I got you either way. But you see I now have a tutorial that I could give my students that explains this on here of how to code. So whoever thought they were being cheeky, I did it. I teach 9th graders. You won't faze me. More sophisticated animations in slides. Ooh. I think you could do that with a Chrome extension. And I know this because my buddy, he actually works at Google. He made one for dreidels where it will it's a spin the dreidel game in Google Slides that has a animation on the slide of the dreidel going. He's a much better coder than I am. So I'm just going to let you know you can. We're not going to do that one. Complex, yes! Thank you, Nick. Okay, excellent. Sheets.new. Okay, now I have Gemini in my sidebar. I need a table of data that has student ID, student name, library due date, and library fine. I need 10 rows of sample data. Now I'm showing you this, so it won't work. Yes. That started working as of last week. I feel like the sidebar in Sheets has been close to useless up until now, and so now when I'm like, okay, I need a formula. Right. No. If you pay for Gemini in Google Workspace, now mine might be slightly better than yours because this is the beta, but my Gemini in Google Workspace does this also. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So right now, if you have a workspace domain and you go in and from your reseller, or you just go into the admin console and you pay the $15 a month to add Gemini to your workspace, you're going to get Gemini in your Google, in your Gmail, which they just announced yesterday that it'll now search up your calendar from when you're in Gmail so you can reference things. You're going to get in the sidebars of your doc sheets and slides. I have it where I have a Google form. It has the Gemini icon where I can type what I want my form to be, and it'll make me all the questions. But I don't think that's live yet. So that is, I didn't say that. I'm not supposed to tell you that stuff. But it does a lot of cool things. So I want to write me a spreadsheet formula that inspects if the due date is after today's date, and then shows a message that the student is naughty. Now here's something cool that you can do with AppScript though, is that you can write AppScript to make your own custom functions. So, you know, when I put equals average, I mean, you're limited to what's in their catalog, right? Like, why doesn't it do this? I can do this in Excel. So you can actually ask Gemini to write you a custom function that you put in AppScript that you can call, and I can now put equals Alice Keeler, and it's going to do whatever I asked it to do based on the AppScript. So that is something that you can do. Did it do it? Okay. Stick that in there. Did it? Okay. So you see it wrote the formula for me. It's not super complex. But that saved me a lot of time of having to remember that today will check today's date and to do an if function. It will definitely do more complex ones than that. And you can just do that with Gemini. So I want to create a custom function using Google AppScript for a function named equals Alice Keeler, that if the value contains the word spreadsheet, it will return the answer is always a spreadsheet. Come on. Okay, now, you're going to get this a lot. And then you reply back, yes, you can. He's like, oh, I can't make images. I go, yes, you can. And it's like, no, really, I can't. I'm like, I am positive that you can. Just give it a little positive encouragement. Talk nicely to it. Tell Gemini how pretty she is. I'm not joking. Yes, sí se puede. exactly what I wanted. So let's just jump over to Gemini. It's pretty good in the sidebar, but I actually do prefer to use the gemini.google.com to do my coding because I inevitably am going to have to do some back and forth iteration, and I like to save it. I can pin it. I like these little push pins that are on here. I can save my code so I can come back to it and keep working on my project. Let's see if I can grab my prompt because I don't want to type it again. And explain what you talking about. Okay, explain to me what is a custom function using Google Apps Script and step-by-step directions to make one. So Gemini has now made the Google Developer Expert for Google Workspace completely obsolete, because now it's just going to give you all the directions. All right, so I'm going to open my Google Sheet. I'm going to go to the extensions menu. I'm going to go to App Script, and here is my code. Whoops. Look how few lines of code that is. Okay, so we're going to copy. I'm going to go to extensions. I'm going to go to App Script. So this is a bounded script. So now if I share this spreadsheet with anyone and they just happen to type the word spreadsheet anywhere, the answer is always a spreadsheet. Now, of course, I have to type in my formula. Okay, save. Give my script a name. I will do that. I don't like to have symbols in there. All right, so now let's see if this works. Come here. Why can't I copy that? So you can make your own cut. I want a function that I can function that I can insert into Google Sheets that does this super specific thing. Now they now have Lambda functions. Good luck making those. I just make Gemini write them for me. Yes, sir. That's a great question. No. I'm positive that there is a workaround to that to make it, because otherwise I have to get this into, so what I would do is I would just make a blank spreadsheet and share it so that when I copy it, I have a blank spreadsheet, but it's got all of my functions in the background. But then you can also publish to the domain, right? And then you can do it, so making a cloud project. I just haven't done it, so I don't want to ask Gemini. I'll tell you. Okay, so we did that one, right? Include code segments in Google Docs for personal Google accounts. All right, Connor, what does that mean? See more areas in 3D on Google Maps. There is a Google Maps API. So I'm just going to see what Gemini says, because I don't know what you're saying. Let's try it. Gemini. Now, I always want to do a new chat. I don't want to, the other code was for the other thing, and it's going to try and blend together spreadsheets and maps. I mean, that does sound lovely, but starting a new chat. And then I'm going to give it a little bit of context. Using Google Apps Script. Who remembers what we're going to put now? In the current Google Doc. Using Google Apps Script in the current Google Doc. It says you don't know what you're talking about. Gave me something. I can insert the date and time into the document. Well, that was helpful. I can also just type @today in my Google Doc, and it will give me the date and time, so thanks for that. If you have a Workspace account that you pay for. Gemini, or your free Gmail account will not. All right, I'm going to move on, maybe. Worksheet automatically autofill all the dates for every Monday and Wednesday. Yes! Where are we going to fill these? Okay, new chat. Create a function using Google Apps Script in the current Google Sheets spreadsheet that has a menu where when I select it, it recognizes what cell I am in. It prompts me for how many days I want, and the worksheet autofills all the dates for every Monday and Wednesday. Okay. And it gave me the onOpen function. Right, so that's going to give me a custom menu. Oops, I'm out of time. All right, it'll work. Trust me. Any questions? Yes, I'm actually a hologram. I'm actually in Kansas right now. Couldn't get out of Dodge. There's too much wind. If you don't know, Dodge is a real place. It's Dodge, Kansas. And that's where I fly in and out of. And I get to literally get out of Dodge. Well, I hope this was helpful, and I think you should just ask anything. So thank you.